It's an entrepreneur boot camp and it's an entrepreneur boot camp and October networking. Plus, we're also celebrating the Filipino American History Month. Yay! Oh, Miko. All right. So happy Filipino American History Month to everyone. I'll have Lois talk a little bit more about what this month means to us and our community. Next slide, please. So I think we skipped the other one. That's good. All right. So, okay, what are you looking forward to learning today? To everyone on the webinar, please put it on the chat box. We'll be able to read those later on in person. Let me see. Who wants to talk? Maybe Rosalind. What are you looking forward to learning today? Perfect. Yes. Specifically the power of capital. Perfect. Yeah, we have a really great speaker from Chase tonight with us. Next slide, please. All right, so I'm your in-person host holding this mic, phone mic, as I would call it. I'm Fiji Victoriano. I'm the secretary of the Chamber, the Filipino American Chamber of Commerce. And I'm also the director of the programs committee for the Chamber. My co-MC is on the virtual world, Kathy Current. Let me see if we can hear her. Can we put her speak? Kathy, can you talk?
Hi, everyone. Welcome. Can you hear me?
All right. So a little bit about the Chamber and also, again, us celebrating the Filipino American History Month. Let me call on our president, Ms. Lois Claver. That's the mic.
All right. Can you see me? I guess I have to be here. There's a specific place.
Back a little bit.
There you go.
There.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today here at Chase Panorama City Branch. Welcome, Filipino American Chamber of Commerce, Greater LA, here in person and virtual. So we're very excited today because, I get to be here. My two favorite things, Chase and the Chamber. So this is a great day. I get to bring both worlds in one occasion. And also, I'm very excited about our topics. So before we jump into what we're going to talk about tonight, I just want to share for our non-Filipino friends what the Filipino American History Month is about. So before I do that, I want to share this quote that I got from Henry C. Who knows Henry C? Oh. Yes, he is the owner of Shoe Mart, which is the largest conglomerate of malls. It's like giant malls in the Philippines. Yeah, and he's the fifth richest man in Asia, and he started selling shoes. He's very poor, started selling shoes, but he's like this tycoon. So his quote is, "There's no such thing as an overnight success or easy money. If you fail, do not be discouraged, try again. If you do well, do not change your ways. Success is not just good luck. It is a combination of hard work, good credit standing, opportunity, readiness, and timing. Success will not last if you do not take care of it." Henry C., Chairman and CEO, SM Investments Corporation. So why did I share that today? It's because, our chamber is all about entrepreneurship and uplifting our communities. Together with the Filipino American History Month, we're celebrating all of the achievements of our community. And why do we celebrate this? It's because, just some quick trivia, to appreciate what, our journey from like halfway across the world. So Filipinos are the first documented Asian people to arrive in the United States. Did you guys know that? We're the first Asians. Isn't that crazy? So that was 1587. It marks the first recorded arrival of Filipinos in Morro Bay here in California. And we are the largest concentration of Filipinos outside the Philippines here in LA County. So lots of Filipinos here. Yes. And October is also the birth month of Filipino-American labor leader, Larry Itliong. Who knows Larry Itliong? So Larry Itliong has partnered with Cesar Chavez. Who knows Cesar Chavez? You all do, right? So they created the United Farm Workers of America Labor Union. So as you can see, there's this partnership between Filipinos and Latinos to all support and uplift each other, make our lives better, right? So isn't that a nice trivia for you all tonight? Okay, so I think that's it for history. So quickly about our chamber. So we've been around since 2001. We have about 150 members, and we hold events 2 to 3 times a month. We're very active, even though we're a volunteer-based organization. So besides our executive assistant, all of us here are volunteers. So we're volunteer-powered. We have strategic partners such as nonprofit organizations providing access to capital, workshops, advocacies, local and Philippine government offices partnership. As you can see, our commissioner, Eric Elnar, the trade commissioner, is also here joining virtually. And other chambers of commerce and as well as media. So we have our media partner here, our friend, Vilma Canas, taking photos. She's a fashion photographer. Welcome, Vilma. And our mission is to promote, cultivate, connect, and empower the Filipino-American community and its allies for business development in Greater LA. Our vision is to be the leading catalyst for prosperity of businesses that share the values of the Filipino-American community. Our core values are excellence, innovation, entrepreneurial spirit, diversity, community outreach, integrity, sustainability, education, accessibility, and collaboration. Next. So these workshops, we have been doing this. This is our 9th one, and this is in partnership with National ACE. So National ACE is the National Asian Pacific Islander Chamber of Commerce and Entrepreneurship. Its mission is to advance Asian American and Pacific Islander business owners. Next slide. It provides a unified voice for businesses of 2.65, maybe I can switch this like this, nope. 1 million AAPI business owners in the United States, seeks to improve economic, political, and social well-being of our community. Next. Okay, so this is our schedule. So our last day is November 16th. So make sure save the date for inviting our speakers to attend. Just we're gonna have a little bit of graduation and celebration, and we'll learn about networking, because it's not just about, learning, put it in our brain, we got to put it in action. So please save the date. And I'd like to give the floor to our venue sponsor, Miss Juliana Oseguera. She's an amazing, amazing person. She just received an award or recognition from the White House because of all of the amazing things that she does for our community. Welcome, Juliana.
I've had the privilege to work with this wonderful lady for a while. And coming into this role as a community manager a year ago, I was so happy that we were able to have this space to give resources out to the community. And I am proud to say that Panorama has a high population of Filipinos. So I'm happy to say this is our 2nd event partnering with the Chamber to celebrate such a big accomplishment, 435 years of history. So congratulations to all of you and welcome to our community branch. Where all of you are always welcome. And again, we're here to celebrate every single culture. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. And for our next, I'd like to call Miss Fiji Victoriano for the introduction of our speaker.
We're trying to make sure that the speaker has its own camera. He's moving.
There we go. Perfect.
A little bit. Napuputol yata yung head. All right. Okay, I think we're set. So our speaker for tonight, a lot of challenges, but we're going to keep on going. Noe Castillo is the VP for Senior Business Consultant for Chase in Los Angeles, California. He has a 1 year of experience at Chase and 18 years of experience in financial services. He loves his city. He's committed to supporting small businesses and contributing to the economic development of Los Angeles and surrounding areas. As your senior business consultant, his job will be to support you as you move forward and take your business to the next level. His expertise includes delivering exceptional customer service through one-on-one coaching, building relationships with clients, and providing alternative resources that best meet your business needs. He's devoted to empowering minority, women, and veteran-owned businesses. He'll work with you to help achieve your goals by making your business banking as simple as possible. He can provide you access to the broader team of experts in areas such as cash management, credit solutions, and other business services. All right, so without much further ado, please help me welcome our speaker for tonight from Chase, Mr. Noe Castillo.
So I hope I'm gonna hold the fancy mic, making sure that we don't miss this presentation. So happy Wednesday. Thank you, Luis, and the chamber and you guys members for coming in. I know you guys could be at home watching TV, watching the novelas, right? I'm pretty sure there's some Filipino novelas you guys can enjoy, right? But thank you for having that. So before I start, my apologies about my Tagalog, but I was asking Luis before coming in, and she told me how to say mabuhay. Welcome, right? So thank you guys for having me here. So once again, Noe Castillo, I'm a senior business consultant with Chase. We are part of the racial equity commitment that Chase has made into the whole country, and LA is being one of the markets that we're trying to accomplish that. Actually, I don't know if we can move to the next slide, please. So we'll try to move along because I know we started a little bit behind. So one of the topics that we're gonna talk today is about, of course, the power of capital, right? A lot of the times businesses come into the bank and say, well, hand me money, right? I mean, it's great to ask, right? But a lot of times it's really being prepared for that process. So as I'm well aware, you guys had a great presentation from one of our community partners, Pace, if I'm not mistaken, the last time you guys had your meeting, and they able to provide about some of the loan products and different programs that they have that could potentially help you guys and your business. But we're going to talk about how to get you prepared for these programs. It's not about just the program, but getting you prepared there. So let's move to the next slide, please. So for you guys have that booklet in front of you, I'm going to try to walk you guys through that booklet as well, or you can follow the presentation. That's completely fine. But the question is, why are we here? Right? Why are we doing this? Why did they hire a guy like me, right? Handsome like me, by the way. But why they hire someone like me to be here, right? It's simple. We just want to give that equal opportunity to every business, regardless of race, color, or anything. So we want to make sure that we give all of you guys that opportunity to take your business to the next level. Next slide, please. So, as I'm pretty sure you guys know, with the coronavirus, there was different challenges, right? Some of them personal, probably some of us, including myself, lost some family members, right? But it was not just that; it was also about how do we survive something that we never seen before, right? And part of that, it was to business owners. How do we keep our business running, right? Not just during the pandemic, but even now after the pandemic, it's been over almost 2 years since we hit that, and even some businesses is still struggling, right? So with this coronavirus, we found out that the struggle for justice, it was to continue the change of the business landscape, making sure that we provide that information to help you guys better and making sure we help you guys business thrive. Next slide, please. So the fundamentals still matter. So what do we mean by that? We want to make sure that even though there's going to be some challenges along the way, such as coronavirus and many other challenges are going to come. We want to make sure that as business owners or entrepreneurs, you guys understand that knowing those fundamentals is still going to help you survive even through challenging times. So, this is one of the reasons why we want to make sure that we, we gain traction from this in times of crisis and make sure we're able to manage it. Next slide, please. 39%. So one of the things that we found out in recent times after the civil unrest is that only 39% of the community, especially minority-owned businesses, feel that their primary bank treats their business with respect. So, which is that's less than 0.5%. Less than, so basically, only 1 out of 3 people believe that they're being treated fairly. The other people, they're like, my bank is not helping me or is not even giving me the chance, right? So we want to make sure that we address that as we move forward with this. And part of that is this is a program that we're trying to approach, being more engaged with the community and try to overcome those objectives and give you guys the resources and tools for that. So it's time to change that. Simple as that. It's time that we take action, not just from us as an institution, but even you guys helping your own communities make that change happen. So it takes a proactive action from all of us in here. Next slide, please. So a bit of a question. You guys can, raise your hand or maybe share some thoughts if you guys want. But how confident do you feel right now with your knowledge about the business credit options out there? Can you guys raise your hand if you feel very confident? Except you, Luis. You don't count. But how do you guys feel? I mean, you guys, when you guys go to your bank, how confident do you feel about your options? Is this something you feel confident? Someone nodded their head, so they're not confident at all, right? So this is what we're hoping to accomplish, give you guys some more of that confidence. Next slide, please. So some of the topics that we'll cover today, we're gonna have you guys think a strategy about your cash flow, right? How to have your healthy business with that cash flow. The next question is, does your business really need to borrow money? Sometimes it's not even about really borrowing money. Sometimes making some internal adjustments into your cash flow that will help you make your business thrive. We're gonna talk, why are you a good investment yourself? You are the asset to the business. So we're gonna talk about you, why financial data is important when applying for business. What are your credit options? We're gonna talk about SBA loan programs, and we're also gonna talk about, what does it take to start, building your own empire. So next slide, please. So think a strategy about your cash flow. What does that mean? When you think about cash flow, how do you manage your money into your business? Next slide, please. So cash flow is just more than just having money sitting on the bank. A lot of people think cash flow is like, oh, I'm gonna throw all my money in there and that's my cash flow. But it's not just about that. That's part of it. That's part of the equation to this, right? But that's not really about everything. So cash flow means more than that. Next slide, please. So question is, how do we use cash flow, right? I mean, cash flow, it's having that equity, that liquidity to operate your business, right? But how do we use cash flow? So we use it to, of course, pay our suppliers, right? We cannot have a business if we don't pay for those supplies to do our product or service, right? Pay our employees. Employees want to get paid. They have families to support, right? So want to make sure they get paid. We got to pay for a lease space, right? How do we have a business if we cannot pay for that space to conduct business, right? And also reinvest, right? We got to reinvest in our business. We got to upgrade equipment, right? We got to, sometimes maybe buy new furniture, right? So that's part of what cash flow means. It means having that liquidity available to put back into the business. So one of the things, so I'm going to ask one of you guys in the booklet or the workbook on page, I believe it's 6, if I'm not mistaken. I want someone, actually, they can do me a favor. So I'm gonna ask for participation. So if you're requiring, I'm sorry, actually page 4. So if one of you guys can do me a favor to read the first 3 paragraphs in there. And I don't want to call for volunteers, but if you guys force me, I will. Any one of you. For Tiffany. Yeah, all right, there we go.
Tiffany's new IT consulting business is booming. Through her connections in the local tech industry, she's developed a promising niche, helping new companies to set up their technology system.
Okay. The next.
In fact, she's been so busy. She's needed to hire help. Her team of 3 is putting in long hours. She's buying a lot of new computers and equipments for clients. She's treating her team to lunches and dinners to build morale and to make work a little more fun. She's exhausted, but she's never been happier. One day, Tiffany gets a call from her bank. Her accounts are overdrawn. Yesterday was payday, and she put in a big order for a new client. She looks at her invoices and sees that she's behind on sending them out. And the invoices that are with clients are all net 30, meaning the clients have up to 30 days to pay. She crunches some numbers and her stomach sinks. It's going to be weeks before she'll have the cash on hand that she needs.
So as you can see on this example, this is what we're talking about, cash flow, right? Is sometimes being able to manage your cash flow without overspending, especially when you have, your receivables. It could be 30, sometimes 45, 60, up to 90 days, right? So sometimes it's maybe not overspending to the capacity that your business has, and making sure that you guys stay afloat with that. And sometimes some of these products that we're going to talk about could help you during those transitions. But cash flow only means managing those transitions between your business. Next slide, please. So as mentioned on this example that we just heard about, cash flow needs to be managed. So it's something that you gotta keep a very close eye to, and it's something that you manage almost every day, every week, right? Not once a month, every week, right? You gotta make sure how you manage cash flow. It's an efficient process for payables and receivables that can help you better manage your revenues and expenses. And of course, borrowing capital can help you to save cash and have it when you need it. So it's very important that you understand cash flow and how does this plays an important role into your business. The next question is, does your business really need to borrow? In this case, maybe she could, right? Depending on her business cycle. But in this case, maybe by her assessing some of the expenses that she's doing, maybe she doesn't really need to borrow. Maybe it's more of an operational management that she needs to adjust in order for her to increase her cash flow, right? So that's a question that you guys need to ask. Do I really need to borrow before you pull that trigger and you apply for a loan? So anytime you come to a bank, a lot of times you hear people come and say, oh, I want to apply for a loan. And you ask them the question, how much do you need? Give me the most that I can or whatever I can get, right? You hear that all the time. And that means that they're not ready. Sometimes they don't really assess if they really need the cash. So this is a very important that you need to ask yourself, do I really need to borrow money? Next slide, please. Remember that when you ask to borrow capital, you have to have a plan to pay it back, because that's what the bank wants to hear. The bank is really to endorse that check, but the bank wants to know, how am I gonna get paid? Is this person gonna pay me in time, right? They want to understand about that, about you and your business. Next slide, please. Some of the questions that businesses are gonna ask all the time is, how long have you been in business? So I'm referring to page number 5 of your workbook, if you want to follow that. So how long you been in business, right? That's a question. Making sure that you've been around for some time. In most of the cases, they're going to ask you to be in business 2 years or more to be considered established business, right? They're going to ask the question, is your business profitable, right? Can your business repay me back if I give you this money, right? A lot of the times, banks, clients come to me and say, oh yeah, I make a lot of money, right? But then when you turn your financials, it shows otherwise, right? So it's very important that you're able to reflect that your business is able to repay that money, and when you're asking for something, you're able to show the capacity to repay back. Now the question is your business seasonal, right? Understanding your business and understanding the seasonality of your business is going to be very important, right? Because if you're one of those businesses where you make a huge profit maybe throughout 1 or 2 quarters of the year, you have to be able to explain that, right? because the business wants, the bank wants to know, okay, even if you're seasonal, hard, during this high seasons, are you gonna make enough money to pay me, right? So you gotta be able to explain that. Do you need to build credit? A lot of startup businesses don't understand that it is very important for you. It is very important for you to have, your personal credit built in order for your business to borrow, right? Are you looking to expand? So those businesses that maybe have been able to do well on the first location want to expand to a second location, right? So if adding new employees or new location can help your business being profitable or more profitable than you already are, right? And in some cases, we'll get a new equipment will help you to be more profitable. Maybe adding one or two pieces of equipment that are going to add, more revenue to your business. So these are some of the questions that financial institutions are going to be asking you. Next slide, please. So one of the things that I encourage you all, we won't do today just due to timing, but for you guys that have a business, page 6 to page 8, it's an exercise I recommend that you do at your own time, right? But these are some great questions that you really got to put in perspective about your business, just making sure that you guys understand your business and what your goals are, right? So I highly guys encourage you, and this is what we're giving you guys a booklet. I know for you guys that are on the Zoom call, we'll send you an electronic copy of that. So I do recommend that you take a look at that, and when you have a chance, feel free to go through those questions. I think that are great exercise sometimes to put a refresher about your business and how you're doing your day-to-day activities. So with that being said, what's credit, right? A lot of people sometimes refer credit, but what's credit, right? Credit could have so many different meanings. So if someone can read that for me, if I don't know if you guys can see this far, but if someone can read that for me, I would. Is that your excuse? You're not seeing that far? Yeah.
Credit has different meanings based on context. It can mean credit worthiness or credit history. In this presentation, we generally use credit to mean an agreement between a borrower and the lender.
Great, thank you. So in this case, when we're talking about financial institutions, credit, that's what we're going to refer to credit. It's just your agreement between you and the bank, and what you're asking in regards to lending, the bank lending you money, right? It's an agreement between the borrower and the lender. So this is how we're going to use credit for the context of this presentation. Next slide, please. Next slide. So becomes the next question of why are you a good investment, right? So as I mentioned earlier, the best and real only asset in your company is yourself. You are the asset to the company. So the investment is really in you and your company, right? So it's very important that we address this topic, because a lot of times people think like, oh, I'm investing in my business, but it's not really about your business. It's really about you, and you are part of the business. You are the brain behind the business, right? Next slide, please. So as I mentioned earlier, you're part of the most important asset. Next slide. So for you guys that are following the workbook, page 9 is the topic that we're going to talk about right now, which is the part of what we just discussed right now, which is the part of the 5 C's of credit. In this case, we're gonna call the leadership, which is basically that's the credit or the character of the person, right? Do you have enough experience to run your business, right? Do you they want to know about the management of history of your business. What have you managed this business? That's part of the character, right? But then the character also is part of the credit. So if for you guys that have your booklet, bullet number, the 4th bullet, the question is, how's your credit history, right? So it's part of the character / credit. So you want to make sure they want to know about your credit, making sure your personal credit is good, especially if you haven't built one for the business. Second portion is going to be the cash flow, right? In this case, Louis mentioned about cash flow. Does your business have basically the other C, which is capacity? Can your business repay this loan? That's what capacity means, nothing else, right? The collateral portion, very straightforward, right? Do you have a valuable asset that you can use as a protocol guarantee, as insurance to do this loan, right? And making sure that that there might be some factors involved in there when putting this loan together. Next slide, please. Personal credit versus business credit. A lot of the times when people come into the bank, especially those that have LLCs, corporations, right? Separate entities running their business. The first thing they come and say, well, I don't need to use my personal credit. Why do I need to use my personal credit if you're giving me a business loan, right? So it's very important that you understand that personal credit is always going to be required anytime you do a business loan, unless you're doing 20 million and above. Most of the time, you're still going to be asked they're going to be asked to be seeing your personal credit. So as you guys know, credit gets tracked based on a FICO score, which runs anywhere from 3 up to 850, right? So it is important that you understand where your FICO is, and not just where your FICO is, because I've seen some people where they have great FICOs, but also how much credit you have right now open. That could make a difference a lot on when getting a loan or not, right? With the business credit, that's usually going to get tracked based on your EIN number, your employer identification number, and that typically ranges anywhere from 0 to 100, right? And depending on some institutions might use some different systems for that. I believe right now most of the institutions are trying to move to Experian, if I'm not mistaken. I think they're going to have like a centralized process for that number. But it's very important that you understand the difference on both, and this is what we're trying to emphasize here. Next slide, please. So, what financial data is important when applying for a loan? That becomes really the question. What is the bank looking for when you're trying to get a loan? What they're going to be collecting from you as a business owner, as an entrepreneur trying to get a loan? Next slide, please. So whenever they're collecting these documents from you guys, the loan officer, the bank employee, they just want to feel confident that when you're getting this inquiry, they want to feel confident about when putting your application, making sure that they're going to be able to extend that credit that you're asking for, right? Through these documents that they're going to be gathering from you. So at the end of the day, they want to make sure that the business will be able to repay the loan or pay the loan off. So next slide, please. The most important question is or the most important document they're going to ask all the time, tax returns, right? Making sure that your tax are done properly on time, right? If you are for an extension, that's fine. That's something that it's permitted, right? But they want to make sure that your financials are always there, that there's consistency in your financials, right? And also, you have to understand that in most cases, they're going to ask you to provide both personal and business financials. Although that this is a business loan, they also want to understand what other income might be coming outside from the business, right? If your spouse is bringing any outside income through W-2s, right? And maybe perhaps you might have another business, right? They want to make sure that they get the full picture. Next slide, please. The balance sheet, right? Many businesses are able sometimes to provide the tax returns, but they're not able to provide what we call interim financials, right? And with the interim financials, it's part of the balance sheet, right? And the balance sheet is just pretty much give us two very important things that the bank is going to be looking for. So in this case, it's going to be your leverage ratio, right? Just making sure or trying to find out how much do you own, how much equity does the company have. And the second component of that is going to be your current ratio, right? Which is your company's ability to pay short-term obligations within the next year, right? That's what they're looking for in your balance sheet. Next slide, please. The second financial report that banks are financial institutions are going to be asking you for is going to be your profit and loss statement, right? Also known as P&L. You know, I see Lewis laughing because she does this all the time, right? Where it's like, Mr. Customer, I need your financials, right? I need your P&L, I need your balance sheet, right? And the P&L shows about how the business is growing, right? It's showing to see if there's some equity there from the business, from the owner, right? If there's gross profit margin. And they're trying to see also what kind of operational costs there is on the business, making sure like, you know, the business at the end of the day is still making profit. There's still some equity in the business. And of course, the EBITDA, right? Luis, you want to explain about that or you want me to take one for the team?
EBITDA, earnings before interest, taxes, and amortization.
Wow, there we go.
See that we use that in like the bigger businesses because it's a test in a sense of what we call add backs. So we add backs like when you file your tax returns, you try to deduct a lot of things, right? So whether it's your interest, like you're going to get a loan because it's tax deductible, you're going to like pay your taxes. It's like, okay, that's lesser. And then your amortization. Let's say you bought an equipment. If you're a bigger business, like a restaurant, for example, and you want to amortize that over the years. So if those non-cash plus, you know, the taxes, we add it back, what is the real profit of the company? So what are we going to test it? Because non-cash, it's something that, okay, this is what they're going to pay taxes on, but what is the real profit? And that's, you know, the bigger businesses, that's what we look at.
Yeah.
Good.
Right.
Did I pass?
There we go. I'll give you an A+ on this one. The other one you had a B. You missed one. not a problem. So once you can provide all this, becomes a question, what are my credit options? What's the product that is really right for me, right? So we're going to talk about 3 different products that most financial institutions are going to have in general, regardless of the brand name, right? And of course, you know, there are a lot of ways of your business might be able to access the capital through this product. So we want to make sure that we address give a quick overview of what those products look like. So whenever you go out there, you make the right decision on what is that your business really needs, right? And of course, it's also building that relationship with your banker that is going to give you some recommendations based on your needs, right? Next slide. Business credit cards. A lot of times business credit cards are really being misused, right? Because they don't understand sometimes the value of credit cards. I mean, rewards are great, right? Having those breaks for the business are great, right? But it's not just it's not just about that. It's really understanding how to use the credit card really for short-term projects. So, and when I mean short-term projects, here are going to be balances that you're going to be able to use and pay within the next 30 to 60 days. So it's more of a short-term use that you want to use the credit cards for, right? So they're easy access to use, but they require very careful management, right? Because people can lose track of those credit cards like there is no tomorrow, and you always come back and see this business owner say, "Oh, I need to refinance some loans," and you come back and I could tell you, majority of them are going to be credit cards because they weren't able to manage them well. So, you know, just be careful when using that. Some of the benefits, of course, they give you cash flow management, especially when sometimes you want to use that credit card to cover some ongoing expenses. You know, you cover them, you get your receivables, you pay it, and you go with the credit card, right? You keep that recycling. They use convenience and control. You know, sometimes if you have maybe employees that you don't want to give them cash and they don't give you receipts, right? Sometimes might be using those credit cards to give an employee a credit card. They can, you know, buy supplies for the company, put gas for the vehicle, whatever the case might be, right? Service and security. And as I mentioned earlier, of course, rewards, right? There's some rewards out there, some credit cards that provide rewards that you can redeem back either to yourself, to your business, or sometimes to your employees. So those are always great. Next slide, please. Business line of credit. So with this one, it's another flexible option that does not have a fixed payment. So it kind of works a little bit like a credit card, but it's more for a bit more complex. So this is when you want to, when I spoke about earlier about seasonality, businesses are running seasonalities. The business line of credits are great, right? Industry companies are like in the medical industries, right? Sometimes doctors or those medical professionals, sometimes they still have ongoing expenses, right? Still have to pay a lease, have to pay bills, and sometimes for them to collect the payments from the insurance companies can take them a while, though, and some of them up to 90 days. So that covers the gap. So this is when those line of credits can become great, because once again, they'll offer that flexible option that doesn't have the payment, the fixed payment schedule, and we'll expand it at some point. So what that means is that most of the time lines of credits become renewable every year. So it's very important that whenever you apply for a line of credit, you understand that you have to put the balance at zero, at no balance at some point in those 12 months. So you have to reset the balance, right? Otherwise, if you keep the balance for those 12 months, once you hit those 12 months, what your institution is going to come and say, well, this person cannot manage the line of credit, we're gonna close it down. And that's when they force you to pay off those line of credits. So it's very important that how you use that. Some of the benefits, of course, funds for emergency expenses, operational capital, one-time expenses. This is something that I think a lot of businesses would have been able to benefit during the pandemic, but unfortunately, majority of them were not prepared for it because they didn't even have one. In some cases, most of them had credit cards, but once again, credit cards for long term, they're not the best. Next slide, please. Business term loans. So for this one, of course, whenever you're trying to finance something that is going to be like a long-term asset, this might be the way to go, right? Because it provides you a time frame on how you can pay the loan, right? So the most typical examples that you see for these business term loans when you're trying to buy equipment, right? When you're trying to buy that piece of equipment for the business, or you want to own the building where you do your business, right? Those great commercial loans where sometimes you can get 15, 20, 25 years in some cases, right? Sometimes it can be great for expansion, right? Where sometimes they come and say, hey, I need this much because I'm looking to expand into a second location and I want to be able to pay this in the next 10 years, 5 to 7, 10 years. Those can be great for those projects. So, definitely the business term loans are something more for like long-term commitment into your business. So as I mentioned earlier, of course, they're going to be for large purchases, equipment, real estate, capital expansion, and long and more predictable repayment schedule. Next slide, please. Some of the additional resources for capital out there, especially here in the LA market, we're very blessed compared to many other markets in the country. We have CDFI loans, which is CDFI stands for Community Development Financial Institutions. Those are alternative nonprofit lenders that are out there in the community that could potentially finance some of your projects when sometimes maybe the banking products might not be the right answer for you. There's, like I said, in LA, there's quite a few out there. Venture capital, those angel investors sometimes where they might be able to come and inject into your business. That one you just kind of have to be aware that in some cases you might have to place some ownership for you to get that kind of financing. And of course, grants, right? Free money, right? We have the luxury to have PPP. We have the luxury to have different assistance programs, right? And now there's still some ongoing grants, not as much as there were before, but there's still some grants that, depending on your business, your industry, you might be able to qualify for those. SBA loan programs is the next topic that we're going to talk about, because it's a great alternative also those for that don't qualify for conventional financing. So in this case, SBA, if you meet certain qualifications, the way that SBA comes into this picture, they're the ones that are gonna guarantee the loan in your behalf to the financial institution, so you can get the loan that you're looking for, right? So, you know, it's a way for those where the bank might not feel too comfortable on the conventional side. Many times they might come and say, hey, let's see if we can get you an SBA loan, right? So you can go to the bank of your choice, or in some cases, some alternative lenders that also might be able to provide you those SBA programs. Next slide, please. So in regards to the SBA loans, the SBA reduces the risk to the lender if it goes into default. So as I mentioned earlier, SBA will come and endorse a loan for you and telling the bank, hey, if this person for some reason don't pay you back, we'll provide you we'll repay you a portion of that loan back to you. So it provides an incentive to the financial institutions to give you that loan, right? So it's a bit of an insurance, and this enables the lenders to work with businesses that have potential or otherwise will not qualify for a conventional loan, like I mentioned earlier. Some of the benefits is like some of the SBA loans might provide you more time to pay those loans off. Provide a lower down payment, especially those that are looking into expansion. Sometimes when you're looking in conventional programs, they might ask you for like a 20-30% down. SBA most of the time asks you for 10-20% down, right? That could make a lot of difference. For those that are trying to buy your commercial building, right? You only need 10% through a 504 program, right? SBA 504. So for those that are trying to become owners of their commercial space, that might be the way to go. You can include some of the fees into the loan, right? In some cases, you don't have to pay them upfront. And open to businesses that are short on collateral, you're not operating or had a lot of debt. So in some cases, some programs with SBA might allow you to do debt consolidation, where sometimes conventional might not, right? So some of these programs are alternative options for the conventional programs. Question is, who becomes eligible for SBA loan, right? So of course, this has to be for profit businesses. Nonprofits will not qualify for SBA loans, right? And this is gonna be for businesses with less than 15 million in tangible net worth and have generated less than 5 million average income over the past 2 years, right? So once again, SBA administration, a small business administration, a small business loans, right? That was created to help small business loans. And this is the reason why they had put that capacity, because they want to make sure that they're helping business within a certain range. Some of the business programs that are available there, SBA Express, usually they can lend you up to 350,000. Most of the time is going to start you in a form of a line of credit. And then once you have used that, they're going to convert it into a term loan. So you make sure that you within the first few months, and then after that, they're going to give you the term to repay that loan back, give you that flexibility. And it's a quick turnaround program. Next slide. Next slide. We'll skip the examples for the time being. The 7A loan program, it's a program that can provide you loans up to 5 million. In these cases, they could provide the 7A loan for working capital, or also in some cases being able to buy real estate, right? Difference between the 7A and the 504 is that with the 7A, sometimes you can combine different things in the same project. So what I mean by that is, like, sometimes you can buy a commercial real estate, and then on top of that, maybe get money for improvements or to buy equipment for the same project. Everything could be put into one loan. And that's the great thing about the 7A. There's some flexibility in this program. Next slide, please. And last but not least, as I mentioned earlier, the 504 program, this becomes a great program for those that are trying to think about commercial real estate or expensive high-end equipment for your business. This might be the way to go. It does not require you a lot. In most cases, 10% down payment into the project. Next slide. So we're going to conclude our presentation. I tried to go as quick as I could because I know we started a little bit late and wanted to become aware of that. But one of the things I want to make sure that and once again, my policy, we kind of rush a little bit through the material. But I just wanted to be sensitive of the time, right? But one of the things that I want to ask you guys, since we went through this material, I know that is after this presentation, do you guys feel more confident about your credit options on there? Do you feel that there's something that you gain out of this? And this is what I'm hoping that we're able to accomplish, right? That we provide you guys the knowledge and those resources and tools to help your business thrive. So with that being said, next slide. We'll open it for any questions if there's time for some.
There is a question on the chat. SBA 504 is only for property loan.
Yeah, so 504 is going to be most of the time is going to be used for commercial owner occupied purposes, right? So in many cases, I've had people where they come in and say, "Oh, can I buy an apartment complex?" No, that is considered investment property. 504 does require that even if you buy a commercial space, that you're using 51% or more of the premises in order for you to qualify for 504. So in some cases, there might be like a mixed use property, right? Where sometimes it might be like a retail front and maybe apartments in the back, office in the back. You're able to qualify for that as long as the portion that you're using for your business is 51% or more. Not a problem. Any more questions? So they got afraid.
Maybe there's in person.
In person. Don't be afraid. I don't bite.
If we have EIDL, do we qualify for SBA 504?
Yes. Well, you should, right? The tricky part of that is one of the things that financial institutions are doing, and you're more than welcome to add on this, Louis, but at the end of the day, the financial institutions want to understand your repayment capacity. So what's going to happen is that even though EIDL, it's a loan payable within 30 years, right? And although it might seem like a small payment, they're going to put that payment back into the equation, making sure that you're able to fulfill all your payments, including that EIDL. But I'll let you kind of add back on this one because I think this is a good topic to
Yes,
discuss.
no, absolutely. The important thing here is if you are applying for any loan, if you have like, okay, Diana owns Tang and Java. She wants to buy her own like retail shop, standalone retail shop. And at the same time, it's like, okay, she talked to, let's say, Noe, I want to buy out this building. But then it's like, oh, I also qualify for EIDL. So I'm going to apply for EIDL. It's okay as long as you tell your banker, like, okay, do I still qualify for that real estate loan on top of this EIDL? I have seen businesses, they qualify for $2 million EIDL, they grab it, and guess what? It kills their real estate loan. Or you find another lender, another bank, where you can qualify and you get a higher rate. Why? Any guess? Yes, because you're a higher risk now, because now you have more debts. We always think about that. All of your action, even residential. We have Akbar Karse here, who owns a residential brokerage and also does commercial. Same thing. You look at the whole picture. Any debts that you have now and you're planning, the bank or any lender looks at the complete picture. You cannot be like, oh, we're not going to do that later. But, we want to project these things. And at the end of the day, guys, we don't want to foreclose on your property. We're not in the real estate business. So, we want to protect you. That's why we look at these things as well.
Great.
Okay.
What's your current LTV or a multifamily?
For multifamily? Well, do you know for that?
It's my educated guess, because we have different groups at Chase.
Mm-hmm.
So Noe and our team is more the owner occupied, which is, the business occupies at least 51%. So that, 20% down on conventional and, 10% down on SBA. But for multifamily, it's much lesser than that, or even investor properties, like a commercial investor. It could be like 50%, 60%, 70%. It's why? Because you're relying on other people to pay you versus your business that you control pays back the bank. So there's a third party that's involved. That's why higher risk. lower-
Yeah. So I guess to kind of piggyback on what Lois just mentioned right now, for multifamily, because it's considered investment property, in most cases, on a good day, you're looking minimum 30% down payment, 70% refinance. That's on a good day, but I think right now, especially with the way economy is, I think you're looking more like 40, 50%.
Yeah, and they also start looking at what's your tenants. Is it month to month? Usually they don't like that because they can just leave the property, after a month. So we're getting into a tighter environment. So the longer you can lock in a guaranteed payment, the better.
Yeah.
So I have a case like that where there was care on multifamily, and now they're asking for payment history. And the only way they could put the loan together is if the borrower would reserve for about a year in a money market.
Yeah, especially right now with this current, market environment. I mean, it's rough, and it's gonna get rougher right now. I mean, but it's part of a transition right now with our economy. We just gotta kind of run along, right? But right, but to answer your question, they're definitely more risky loans. So definitely, the institutions are gonna ask for things that you never seen before. They just want to feel comfortable. They want to feel that comfort zone with the borrower. Mhm. Any more questions on the chat?
Okay, there's a comment from Reddy Babasa. If borrower maximize the 5 million SBA 7A limit, can borrower apply for more SBA loan program?
Most likely not, because that SBA is capped, right? If I'm not mistaken, based on, and I believe it's based on the.
Yes, they can. Yes, they can.
Okay.
That's a trick question.
Yes, they can.
Ready is an
Yes,
SBA
they
special.
can.
Oh, there we go.
504.
Okay. There we go.
The 504. As long as they meet the green requirements of SBA, then they can apply up to 16 million.
Yep.
Oh, there we go.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep, that green program is relatively newer. But as long as they still fit all of this equity maximum, that you're not too rich to apply for an SBA loan.
Yeah. Credit elsewhere, right?
Thank you, Reddy. Okay, next question. Is EIDL is still happening? I thought it was just coronavirus related. Good information. I don't think it is.
Which one?
The EIDL. It's
No.
finished.
Yeah.
Yes, it's done.
Yeah.
EIDL. There's EIDL.
Yeah.
For the hurricane.
Yeah, but that's part of that's the disaster for that. Yeah.
And
Mhm.
the main one is they're still going through the ones that got it after before the cutoff. They're still deliberating.
Oh.
Long back.
Oh.
So our VP for events have a lot of information on that. So feel free to reach out to Miko
I follow
Colon.
it every day.
Thanks, Carmela, for the question. So Carmela owns a flower shop in Sherman Oaks and a new member. Thanks, Carmela, for joining. And then, what is this? Henry Chen, CRC SBA. Last question. What's CRC? Yeah. Oh, so ERTC is not. It's a tax
Employer
program.
recovery.
No, it's not. It's a government program for more like tax related, but it's not SBA.
Okay,
Okay.
hold on.
I think we're all done.
Yep, we're good.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Noe.
Well, thank you. And my last class of Tagalog, it was salamat. Thank you.
Yay. Salamat.
Thank you, Noe. Thank you. So we're gonna give our online attendees time to do a group photo. We're gonna do our group photo later on because we're all in person here. So Lizelle, can you please take a photo? Let me ask everyone to turn on their cameras. Everyone on the virtual world, please turn on your cameras. Lizelle is gonna take a photo.
Okay,
Lizelle,
I'm gonna
you can.
take screenshot. Okay, ready. And 1, 2, 3. Okay, another one. 1, 2, 3. Uh,
All right. Thank you, Lizelle, for that. So can you put back our slides, Lizelle? I think we have a 30-second networker access that we can do right now. Miko Palon, do you want to speak? 30 seconds. Skip. I'm skipping to Joseph. 30 seconds. You have the floor. This is like an introduction. Go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Josie. I'm in the real estate and mortgage lending world. For,
No, I'll just move this.
residential. So this is a very interesting topic for me. There's a lot of clients I serve are investors, which require more loan and capital than the typical workplaces home loans. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph.
Lois, I think is busy. Gemma Bergstrom. Hi, Gemma Bergstrom. I'm one of the board members. I've been with Chamber for over 20 years. And I have a couple business in the Philippines, import, export. All right, Gemma, Rosemary Arciaga.
Hello, good evening. My name is Rosa Narciaga. I'm a registered nurse by profession. However, I started getting into the business and actually my business is Norwex, which is like a cleaning without chemicals. So if you wanna, I know we don't like to clean, but we have to. So for safer environment. Thank you.
David Baines.
Hi, David. Bus. Okay, now. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll speak later.
Tisha. Tisha's here, correspond.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tisha Magtajas. I'm with Forest Lawn. I do planning ahead. So I know you've heard of Forest Lawn pretty much. So it's a funeral cemetery industry. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, Ike Bacarsi, Coldwell Banker. And then we have a resort in Palawan. Come on over to Palawan. Have a visit, right? Thank you.
Thank you, I.
Thank you.
And Diana, right here.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Diana. I own Tang and Java. It's a coffee and gelato business. And I also have Hidden Vape for the electronic cigarettes.
Thank you. Next slide, please. For this, we'll call on our VP for membership, David Baines.
Good evening, all. David Baines, VP for membership for the Filipino American Chamber of Commerce. If you're looking to join and grow your business, I encourage you all to join FACC GLA. Our individual membership starts at $150. Corporate membership starts at $300. So if you're looking to grow your business, come check out the Filipino American Chamber of Commerce. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Next slide, please. This is our QR code for our perks and benefits if you'd like to check us out. Next slide, please. All right, events. VP of Events, Miko Palan, is going to talk to us a little bit about our upcoming events.
Thanks, Fiji. Next slide, please. So our next upcoming event would be the Entrepreneur Bootcamp. Will continue. Our next topic will be mental health and small business. That's going to be next Tuesday, October 18th. Next slide, please. We also have our West Valley Food and Wine Oasis will be supporting. And visit our booth. That's going to be on October 19th at the Land Rover Center in Topanga Canyon Boulevard, Woodland Hills. Tang and Java will be there. And then also save the date, our entrepreneurship bootcamp series continues with supplier diversity that following week on the 25th. And then there's going to be a couple more. And then we have our graduation, which is going to be an in-person event. You'll get to meet your cohort and the speakers. That's going to be a fun one. Next slide, please. And then save the date, please. And remember.
All right. Thanks,
Thank
Miko. So again, to all of our virtual attendees, please watch out for the emails. Also, our in-person attendees are going to receive the email if you registered online. Your feedback matters to us. So if you think it was great, if there's something to improve, please let us know. Next slide, please. All right. So at your service, the executive officers, we have Lois Claver here, our president. Celeste Rose Mandarin is our VP for marketing. David Baines, our VP for membership. At the back, VP of events, Miko Palon. Where's Miko? Over there on the computer. I'm the secretary. And we have Henry Chen online as our treasurer. Next slide. These are our board members. Some of these board members are here as well. We have Gemma Bergstrom, Roslyn Arciaga, Joseph Sarmiento are here in person. Kathy Current, Reddy Babasa, Thompson, and Linus Ebe were all online. Thank you. So now we're going to do the presentation of certificates. Miko, can we please request you to be here for photographs?
So this event would not have been possible without our gracious hosts and speakers. I'd like to call on Noe Castillo up here. So guys, usually bank hours is until 5. So these people are doing overtime for us. This is what they do for the community. So really, really appreciate it. So this certificate of appreciation is presented to Noe Castillo of Chase Bank for your valued contribution as workshop speaker for the Entrepreneur Bootcamp series, The Power of Capital, Access to Capital, Part 2, given this 12th day of October 2022 in Panorama City, California, awarded by the Filipino American Chamber of Commerce of Greater LA, signed by Fiji Victoriano, our secretary, and programs director, and myself, Lois Claver, president. Thank you, Noe. Oh, the banner. Oh, guess there. There you go. Thank you, Noe.
I'll make sure I build the hours to the chamber.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And our very important person, Juliana, for making this happen again. Part 2. So this certificate of appreciation is presented to Ms. Juliana Oseguera of Chase Bank for your valued contribution as venue, host, and sponsor for our yummy food here for the Entrepreneur Bootcamp series, The Power of Capital, Access to Capital 2, given this 12th day of October 2022 in Panorama City, California, awarded by the Filipino American Chamber of Commerce, Greater LA. Appreciate you very much. Signed, Miko Palon, our Vice President for Events, and myself, Lois Claver, as President. Thank you. Oh, photo here. And then there. Thank you, Vilma.
Thank
you. And our photographer didn't get to speak for a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Come on over. I'll just introduce
you didn't get to do your
yourself.
30-second introduction.
Well, I'm just very happy to be here. Thank you, Lois, for inviting me. I'm a photographer and I'm also a wedding planner now. So I'm just slowly getting up there. So thank you guys for having me tonight. And thank you my honey who brought me here too.
Thank you, Vilma.
Thank you guys.
And Vilma is amazing. She's very talented. So if you need any event stuff, she's the go-to person.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Vilma.
Thank you, everyone. So this is our link tree. If you want to scan this QR code, it will lead you to our website, our social media handles, everything you need to know about the chamber. Next slide. All right. Happy Filipino American History Month. This is not going to be complete without food. So I think the next part of our program is going to be the food. Thank you again to all our online attendees. We hope you enjoyed that presentation from Noe Castillo. And we are actually hoping you're here too, so you can eat the food. But in any case, maybe we'll see you in our December member appreciation and onboarding event. So thank you, everyone. We'll see you again next week. Yes, November 16th is the graduation. Thank you, everyone. All right, we can have our food.